What's up, guys? Luke here from Luke's Points and Miles, and there's a question that I have been getting asked since March of this year that I wanted to dive into today. See, in March, I upgraded my Chase Sapphire Preferred to the Chase Sapphire Reserve, and so many of you have been asking me, what do I think of the Reserve? Now, I really wanted to take this card through its paces and run it for a while before I really gave you a strong opinion. So in the last probably 7 months, I've used the Chase Sapphire Reserve as my primary travel card. I visited the Chase Sapphire Lounge in New York. I've booked travel to the Caribbean, Europe, and here domestically. I've also booked planes, trains, and automobiles, and I've ran a few 100,000 UR points through the card for both hotels and flights. I've also used the portal a few times, so I think I'm finally ready to give you a qualified opinion on if the Chase Sapphire Reserve is worth it. But guys, if you are new to the channel, I talk about credit cards, points, miles, cashback, and travel. If those are things that you could be interested in, please consider subscribing. We are marching towards 20,000 subscribers, and I am really excited about that. Also, if you get any value or entertainment from this video, slap that like button for me. And with all that out of the way, let's jump right into it. Okay guys, I wanted to do it like this. I'm gonna try to quickly go over the card and its benefits, and then I'm gonna tell you what I really think about my experience with the Chase Sapphire Reserve. But I'm also gonna tell you some things it could be lacking. Afterwards, I'm gonna tell you what I honestly think about the card in two different categories. First category is how I rate the card in a vacuum, meaning if it was my only premium travel card and it was the point of focus for my setup. Then I'm going to tell you what I think about the card and how it fits in a wider spectrum for folks that have a lot of cards and how it compares to some of these other premium travel cards. First things first, and that is everyone's favorite part of the credit card game, and that's the bonus. This card has a less than exciting 60,000 UR points bonus for spending $4,000. Sort of makes you want to yawn compared to some of today's other offerings, but there is a bonus, and it is Chase Ultimate Rewards points. And I know how everyone loves UR points. The next thing we need to know is, how does the card earn? Well, the card earns 3 times on dining and travel worldwide. Okay. Might be a little anticlimactic, but if you are inclined to use the Chase travel portal, there are some incentives there too. Using the portal will earn 5 times on flights, 10 times on hotels and car rentals. And about this portal, using the CSR to redeem your UR points for travel will get you that 50% boost. So your UR points are going to be worth a consistent 1.5x within the Chase Ultimate Rewards portal. That can be quite appealing for a lot of folks, especially beginners and people that are focusing on that domestic economy travel. Portals do generally get a bad rap on the YouTubes, but I do think they still serve a purpose, and that's a topic we might discuss in a different video. But you get the gist. It's not a great overall earner, but it seems to get the job done for a travel card. You guys ready for some sticker shock? This card also comes with a premium $550 annual fee, and if you are lucky enough to have a significant other, you'll need to cough up 75 bucks for that authorized user card. So let's go over these credits and benefits to see if we can make sense of this whole thing. $550 is a lot of money, but the card actually mitigates much of that with a $300 travel credit. This one is super easy to use. Anything that codes as travel will be credited up to $300. That means that anyone that is going to travel even a little bit should have no problem getting full value from this credit. I hate to use the term effective annual fee, so I won't use it at all. But we still need to make sense of the $250 balance. But then this is where the card kind of shines for a lot of folks. The next credit is something that I have complained about in the past, and I'm still not a huge fan. This is a $25 a month DoorDash credit. So the card also includes a Dash Pass, and this credit is broken up in the following semi-confusing manner. It's a $5 DoorDash credit a month. Now this is automatically applied, and you'll also get 2 $10 coupon credits for non-restaurant DoorDash orders. If this sounds weird, that's because it is. But this is how I've learned to use it. I don't really use food delivery services, but twice a month I will order cases of water or sports drinks from the local Dollar General, and and those will be sitting on my porch when I get home from work. Pretty simple. I have a boy that plays sports, so I'm probably always going to need a steady supply of sports drinks. Do I value this at full value? I really can't say I do, because I'm tipping someone to deliver a bottle of Gatorade from a store that I drove past on my way home. But then again, I'm not shopping amongst the poors at a Dollar General, so it might be worth it. Either way, max value is $300 and it's easy to use. Personally, I'm going to take 25% off because of that tip, so less than $240 of value for me, but it also saves me some time. You also get a Lyft Pink membership, and this will be different for everyone. Pink memberships are $199 a year, and you'll get priority pickup from the rideshare service. I'll value this at $0, but I do use Lyft when I travel, so hopefully there's some bonuses in there for me somewhere. You'll also get 10 times on Lyft purchases until March 2025, and I think that's pretty nice. Now we move on to a benefit that is near and dear to my heart, and that is airport lounge access. I'm not afraid to admit that I don't deserve to live a life that includes sitting out in the bullpen with commoners and Adam J's kids. I'm not doing it. No thank you. I try to be a good husband, so I have to make sure my wife gets a comfortable seat and a cup of coffee before she flies. Maybe even some food or an adult beverage. Airport lounge access is very important to me, and I need as much of it as I can get. With the CSR, you will get a priority pass. That'll give you access to over 1,300 airport lounges worldwide. And that includes everything from a smallish room with a can of Coke and some crackers to some fairly impressive full-service lounges. Our local airport only has one lounge, but it's an escape lounge, and that is now accessible via Priority Pass, so this works out really good for me. The card also grants access to the fairly new Chase Sapphire lounges. These are currently located in JFK, LaGuardia, Boston, and Hong Kong, but there are a few more on the way in places like Vegas and Philly. Card comes with a TSA/global entry credit, which a lot of cards do have, but I would suggest if you don't have global entry, you should get it. It's 100% worth the hassle. Thank me later. Oh, and global entry comes with a TSA pre-check, which in my opinion is a must-have. Now let's finalize the card review with some generalizations. The card comes with league-leading travel and purchase protections to include primary rental car insurance. Do your own research on those, but I will say it is top tier, best in class travel protections, and a lot of us rarely talk about those until it's too late. So guys, let's review. $550 with potentially $1,000 or so in credits. Add the protections and the lounge access, and I think we're in the positive for most of us. Lots of extras in the portal and the option to cash out, transfer, or get a bonus in the portal. But what do I think about having and actually using the card? Well, in a vacuum, I think this card makes a lot of sense, and I'll explain. I think it's fairly easy to at least get close to mitigating that annual fee without a ton of work. That might not be true if you don't have DoorDash or Lyft in your area, or you don't travel. I think the earnings are okay. 3 times on dining will never knock your Aunt Connie's socks off, but it's not terrible. When we add in the support cards from Chase though, I think it combines to form Voltron, and you will do fine with earnings. Add in a generous referral program and plenty of Chase offers and limited time offers, and then I think we move into the great category. Travel protections for me is something I hate thinking about, but I also travel enough that I know I'm going to need them, so I'm willing to pay for peace of mind. I like booking my domestic flights through the portal when it makes sense, so that 50% bonus is there and it's nice. The card gives me access to the Chase transfer partners, and even I'm going to admit, transferring to Hyatt on the hotel side is a really easy way to not only get great value, but it gives me access to suites. I like having a separate space when I'm traveling with the family, and Hyatt makes that fairly easy. The DoorDash credit is something I'm learning to live with, but I'm not real happy about it. There aren't a ton of Chase lounges, but here's my deal. Priority Pass gives me access to my local lounge, and if I'm traveling international, I'm going to be in business class, so that will get me into the lounge before that long flight. The Chase Lounge at JFK, when I went there, it was busy, but it was also of very high quality. And I think out of the several choices at JFK right now, I think there's a good chance I would choose to visit the Sapphire Lounge next time I visit. And I think for someone that is using a Chase setup for their primary setup, this is an easy decision, and I think it's a card that provides everything you're going to need. But what if we exit our vacuum and we compare this card to its closest competitors like the Amex Platinum and the Capital One Venture X? Then do we see things a little differently? That's when things get complicated, because the CSR is a card that you need to focus on to make sure it's getting used and it's generating value. The Amex Platinum arguably provides much more value than the CSR, but again, the Platinum requires much more work to squeeze that value. It's also more expensive. On the other end of the spectrum, we have the Venture X. This card needs almost no work, and the card does many of the things its competitors do with a much lower fee that you can easily mitigate without even trying. I think Amex MR points and Chase UR points are pretty comparable, but I think in this comparison, Capital One miles may fall a little short. Speaking of falling short, everyone has their own experiences, but for me, Amex is just not widely accepted overseas. The CSR is much more likely to be accepted everywhere. And finally, Chase has the most flexibility when redeeming points, cashing them out, transferring them to partners, or using them in the portal for a 50% boost. Now, I didn't want to make this a comparison video, but like I said, reviewing the CSR on its own, it's a keeper. Comparing to the competition, I personally still think it's superior in enough ways that I think I'm going to continue my journey with the CSR. And I think what pushes it over the edge for me is the protections and when booking hotels. Hyatt as a transfer partner and the portal for boutique hotels could be enough for me to consider foregoing any hotel loyalty. That's another topic. Okay guys, the Chase Sapphire Reserve seems to have become a little polarizing lately, but in my opinion, if you can utilize the latest coupons, then it makes a lot more sense than before. Tell me what you think in the comments, and shameless plug, I'm going to drop some referral links below if you want to get this card or other Chase cards. Guys, as always, if you have stayed around all the way to the end, I appreciate you, and I want to thank every single one of you.